Test 1 2, check 1 2, test 1 2, check 1 2.
Ready? Good morning, Keller Williams. Welcome to Thursday, the start of the Easter weekend. It's still a little bit different out there. Yesterday, I was driving around the city here, and there seems to be a lot more vehicles. I don't know if they're running for Easter hams or running for Easter gifts or what, but there would seem to be a lot more traffic out, and hopefully that won't precipitate a huge spike in the COVID-19 virus over this particular Easter weekend. So let me start off by talking about some updates in regards to economic response, support for individuals, and some assistance if you have concerns about online prescription renewals and where you should be able to go look for that. I gave you the some information last call that we had in regards to individuals applying for economic relief, and there are supports for individuals. If you or someone you know is looking to reduce current monthly payments or defer payments, here's a list of options that can be made available by most, if not all, companies. So individual families, you can contact your bank to look for defer mortgage payments. Contact your car dealership to defer vehicle payments. Contact your insurance company to reduce your insurance premiums on vehicles that you use for work, but you're not using the vehicle right now. And contact your credit card companies to reduce the interest rates and remove minimum monthly payments. For those people unable to work or those facing unemployment, the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit is available. Now, there's lots of people that have concerns about whether or not you put a deal together in October, November, and December, and they're closing now. What does that mean? Do you qualify or do you not qualify? An email went out yesterday, I believe, to everyone from Korea, and they sort of explain how that works. So that means that in order to qualify, if you close a deal in the winter and it will be and you'll be receiving a commission in the coming weeks, or if you're still working, phoning clients, conducting virtual tours, but not receiving any income, in the first instance, the eligibility criteria states that income cannot be received in the previous 14 days. If, for example, a member is going to receive a payment today for work conducted days or months ago, they will have to wait 14 days after the income is received in order to apply. The last date to apply is December 2nd, 2020. Canadians are eligible for a maximum of 4 months of benefits within that time period. For the second instance, the eligibility requirement states that Canadians are eligible who are or expected to be without unemployment or self-employment income for at least 14 consecutive days in the initial 4-week period. For subsequent benefits, they expect to have no employment or self-employment income. Many of our members fall into this criteria. The Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy, which is geared to help employers retain staff, is set to launch soon. Currently, the eligibility requirements state that the employer must show 30% year-over-year decline in revenue for March, April, and May 2020. I would suggest that each and every one of us take a look at that program. I know people that are in our system right now that could very much apply for the $2,000, and the application apparently is very, very easy, and there are people who have received checks within 3 days of doing the application. I would, again, talk to your accountant, talk to your legal advice if you want, but the worst thing that could happen is that they say you don't qualify. That would be the worst. So I would suggest that for all of us, or most of us, it may be worthwhile looking at. The next, Brad. So the evisitnewbrunswick.ca, there's a video on a phone and message consultation for common illness, injuries, or health concerns. That's also a place where you can go and get prescription renewal service provided as well. I thought we'd just stick this in there so that it might be a benefit to you, and it may be a benefit to some of your colleagues, friends, or acquaintances out there that you know that are having trouble certainly having a visit with their doctor, but at the same time trying to refill prescriptions and everything else. This is a hotline that you could use, and it could be very beneficial. So let's look at the map. COVID-19. As of yesterday, we have 108 cases. Out of the 108, we have 58 that's active and 50 that are recovered. And of the 58 that's active, 6 are in hospital and 4 of them are in ICU. These numbers, if you look at, if you've been following it at all, these numbers that we have in New Brunswick are very, very, very good. And a lot of thanks has to go to you, our partners, to the frontline workers, to the doctors, to the grocery store people, to the firemen, to the first responders. There's a lot of things that has to go out here. As Dr. Russell said yesterday, now is not the time to relinquish what we've been going through. Now is not the time. We need to stay the course on this to see what this is going to look like come Tuesday or Wednesday next week. I believe, and I'm no expert, but I believe that with whatever happens between now and this time next week could be the largest flattening of this pandemic. And if that's the case, things may get back to whatever that new normal is going to be. As I said on Tuesday, that it's business as usual done in a very unusual way. And that unusual way may be with us for some time to come after this is over. As a matter of fact, our new normal may never look like our old normal looked like. But it's very encouraging to see what's going on here in New Brunswick as opposed to what's going on in the rest of the country, and particular in Quebec and Ontario. All of us feel the pain of what's going on there. We're a country, we're Canada, and we are very, very strong working together, and it's amazing that this government, all three parties in this government have band together and have put these plans in place for the benefit of every single New Brunswicker. I just thought we'd look at the coronavirus symptoms timetable. Again, if you look at it, here's your days with your fever and fatigue and your difficulty breathing. Acute respiratory distress in day 8, intensive care. Well, as I said before, we have 4 there now. We're hoping that the fever ends soon for those folks. The shortness of breath stops, and there's no one affected by death. And as of today, my understanding is that we haven't lost one New Brunswicker yet to COVID-19. And I'm hoping that we don't lose any, and we don't lose any more across the country. So, when the next day actually happens, we will be ready. There is absolutely no question about that. The amount of work that you have done over the last 3.5 to 4 weeks, continuing to work on your database, continue to double down on lead generation, continuing to reach out, because real estate's a contact sport, reach out to your buyers and sellers and find out what they're going through. As a result of doing all this that you've been doing, we are in a very, very good position when this is over, that we're just going to be able to pivot to the right and move right into what I would call a delayed spring market. I believe that there's lots of stuff going on, and on Tuesday, I'm going to give you a bit of an update of COVID-19. But on Tuesday, I'm going to give you some information and some stats of how we are doing as a company over the last 4.5 or 5 weeks. So you get the feeling that the synergy and the energy is in this building, but also in everybody's minds of being business owners and moving in the right direction to ensure that we live life by design and we can provide all the necessities for our families. So your wishes are our command. Last week I talked about David Whalen and the TAPS audit, and I think we're down to about 40 people. I've asked everyone to go online and sign up before this Friday. In particular, if there's teams out there that are going to do this as a team instead of individual, then one of you sign up and make sure that your team is available to go through this with David. The reports that I've got so far through these TAPS audits, and there's been some apprehension by some people simply because the fear of the unknown of technology. I can assure you the feedback that I've been getting, it's all about been very, very positive in David's approach to filling out the required information needed, and the agents that I've talked to also said that they felt a lot more comfortable knowing that they had someone with the caliber of David Whalen to help them in the future in regards to technology. So I ask you, if you get a minute today to go online, sign up for this so that we can get this process over with in the next week or two, and then we can start putting some real plans together to get you where you want to go. So again, it's very, very enlightening to know that Scott and I and the rest of the leadership has made a worthwhile investment in David, and it looks like we made the right decision. And by the way, I'd like to take a shout out to David as well in regards to all this presentation that you're seeing here is been all of his work, and for that I'm very grateful and humble to have him helping me put this together. So let's talk about the COVID-19 documents. Seller's consent form, listings brokerage consent form, cooperating brokerage consent form, buyer/tenant consent form, and third-party consent form. It's amazing to me that when we started this, we were looking at putting one form together and we end up with 5. There are companies out there that don't even care. There are companies out there that don't have any of this. And with making some revisions, what you have in front of you is the new going forward forms to be used. Now, we want to make sure that the forms are designed, and they were designed to follow protocol of the health authority. We also want to ensure that these are almost like disclosure statements that must be adhered to and completed before an appointment can get confirmed. It's if somebody calls and says, I want to see a house, and your vendor is willing to let the person in to show the house, then the cooperating brokerage should be, that's got the buyer, The broker should fill out the form. The buyer should fill out the form. The form should go back to the agent, and then the agent will confirm the appointment. There's no sense of having the brokerage fill out the form and then say, well, I'll get the buyer to sign this when I meet them there tonight. That's counterproductive, and that's not what the forms are designed to do. If anyone has any questions on the forms or any suggestions, we've put a lot of time and effort in these forms, and we think that these are the right forms going forward. And again, if you get any questions, you can either email me your concerns or give me a phone call and we can talk about them. But I think that they're all inclusive. I think they're the forms that Keller Williams Capital Realty will use going forward during this pandemic. In regards to command training and resources, our new weekly command training for teams, here's a schedule. I know that you have it. I've been following Gilles Plurd on 11:30 and at between 4 and 5 every day for the last 14 days. That is an absolutely must if you want to learn something about command and you're not fully engulfed in it already. These training sessions are for you. We put them out there. We're hoping that you exercise. It's very enlightening that I go on there and I see the Arlene Allens and I see the Megan McKinleys and I see David Sabatos and many people from all over our company and all over New Brunswick that are engaged in that. The yesterday's call at 11:30, I think there was 26 people on there, and 12 or 13 of those people were Keller Williams Capital New Brunswick. So that I'm very grateful and proud that you're participating in those calls. The slide here is that that I want you to make sure that you're aware that police are stopping more vehicles to ensure that all occupants are from the same address. Fines of approximately $300 for any violations. This weekend, the city police, the RCMP, and everyone is going to be on high alert to the point where they want to make sure that they're practicing self-distancing. They want to make sure that there's no Easter weekend house parties or gatherings going on. And they are also looking at 1,000 to 10,000 fines for homeowners hosting any gatherings with persons not from that address. These guys they're serious about this, and so they should. I know that it's Easter weekend, and it's usually a time where you bring families together and share ham and have a few drinks and enjoy family. It would be terrible if we inflicted one person with this terrible virus and cause them to get sick, ill, or possibly die. So this weekend's going to be a different Easter for all of us, and we give gratitude that even though we're in this situation, we got a whole lot to be thankful for, and you just need to know that leadership is here to support you. You just need to know that we care about you tremendously, and that we see you as our partners, not just individuals that sell real estate for Keller Williams. The other next slide is that I got this last night from Carrie. Keller Williams Realty ranked #1 in 2020 Real Estate Almanac report based on closed volumes of $336.59 billion. The next closest was almost $67 billion behind. We are winning at the highest level because we have the leadership right from international right down into Canada and right down into New Brunswick. It's always an honor and a privilege to serve. We come from contribution, and we value you as individuals, and we value you as business partners. I want to say Happy Easter on behalf of Scott, myself, and the rest of the leadership. Happy Easter to you. Make the best of the situation, and stay healthy, stay strong, and stay home. Thank you.